What up, people? It's your boy. I'm back with another live stream, Just My Opinion podcast. How y'all living? I'm living swell. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, share this live stream with your friends, family, as well as your followers. Let's get this channel lit in the YouTube algorithm because y'all are well aware of the YouTube algorithm know of me, but it doesn't really know me, if you dig what I'm saying. All right. So, got a jam-packed show today. How y'all living? I'm living swell. Not really a lot going on in the sports world. If you checked out my last live stream, I think I did that last week. I talked about Michael Parsons being traded to the Green Bay Packers. Uh, and I'm not going to go, just check out that live stream. And it's turning out very beneficial early in the early goings of the NFL. The Packers won their first game this first week. My Dallas Cowboys, my beloved Dallas Cowboys, lost, but there's a little bit of optimism when it comes to my Dallas Cowboys. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that develops because, it's a long, long season, all right? But I'm not here to talk or focus on my Dallas Cowboys or the National Football League. This is more about the latest news surrounding Steve Ballmer, who is the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, and Kawhi Leonard. Now, word around the campfire is apparently Steve Ballmer and the Clippers figured out a way to circumvent the salary cap by giving Kawhi Leonard some additional millions by this company that he was supposed to sponsor. And they got, if you listen to Pablo on his podcast, he pretty much connected the dots as far as, hey, Steve Ballmer figured out a way to, like I said, circumvent the salary cap by giving Kawhi Leonard some extra money. And this business is really not a real company. I think it's called Aspen or Aspire, whatever. And he's got paperwork connecting the dots. Now, there's been a lot of people that is very critical of this. Now, Mark Cuban says that Pablo is going to have egg on his face because he dropped some gems on a recent podcast talking about, Steve Ballmer is worth billions. You think a billionaire's a man who's been very successful in business, which Steve Ballmer has been, would allow a company to go bankrupt. And if a company goes bankrupt, their information goes public. And then they will see that Kawhi Leonard's contract and all that jazz. So Mark Cuban gave that perspective, and people are still talking about this. Everyone's saying that this is going to be as worse as the Joe Smith scandal when the Minnesota Timberwolves, low key gave Joe Smith some money under the table to remain a player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The NBA investigated, found out that that was true. They just nulled and voided Joe Smith's contract. He had to play elsewhere. The Minnesota Timberwolves got fined. The Minnesota Timberwolves lost a slew of draft picks. On retrospect, you look at it and you go like, wow, things would have been really different if they did their investigation, found out that there was no wrongdoing. How the Minnesota Timberwolves landscape would have changed if they would have kept their draft picks, if they would have had Joe Smith with Kevin Garnett and others. They would have won a title. Their fortunes would have probably changed. That's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about. So the reason why I didn't make a video or do a live stream or even talked about it was I wanted to get more details, more information, because when this was first reported, I was kind of very skeptic about it because of, to me, Steve Ballmer. So you're implying Steve Ballmer figured out a way to cheat the salary cap. And it just the connections, none of the pieces really fit. I can understand it from Kawhi Leonard. He wouldn't mind doing it. Now, his uncle, who was uncle or cousin or whoever, was also trying to get additional money when Kawhi Leonard was a free agent from other teams. Like he wanted them to buy them a house and get them a plane, their personal plane, and all this jazz. Okay, so I can understand maybe him wanting that, and to a certain extent, maybe Kawhi Leonard wanted that because when he got signed to the Clippers, there were certain things he could have, you know, his schedule was different with the Los Angeles Clippers. He didn't involve himself with too many practices. He flew on a different plane with the rest of the players, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way when he was a member of the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, and they're wondering how come he's getting all of this, and we're just getting the bare minimum. Okay, so yeah, that's why I didn't really talk about it. But now, since all of this stuff is dropped, Mark Cuban's perspective, a lot of people's perspective in the sports business world has talked about it as well. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of people also feel like they're not going to find anything. They're not going to find anything. And the Clippers are not going to forego none of their picks. And to be completely honest with you, the Los Angeles Clippers really don't even have a lot of picks for their future anyway. They just sold all of those picks to benefit the team. They want to win right now. And to me, if you look at the Clippers from a distance, I think the Los Angeles Clippers windows is shut, not because of Kawhi Leonard, but everything around the Los Angeles Clippers. So, we'll have to wait and see how that shoe drops. But to me, I don't see the Clippers are going to be very competitive as far as making a deep run in the playoffs or even winning a title anytime soon. Okay, so even if they did figure out a way to cheat the salary cap, figure out a way to cheat in the NBA. Retrospect, how is it paying off? How many titles have they won if they circumvented the salary cap, gave Kawhi Leonard money under the table? If we're saying that Kawhi Leonard got some money under the table, you don't think Paul George was an opportunity, didn't get a deal similar to that, or try to get some money under the table? What about James Harden? Okay, so even if it comes out to be true, it didn't help the team any as far as their chances of winning a title or making a deep run in the playoffs. Okay, so that's going. If it's true, Steve Ballmer, I mean, these past, he's going to come off to being one of the worst owners in the NBA. You figured out a way to cheat in this salary cap era, and you didn't get no titles or a deep run in the playoffs. You did all of this stuff, paying all this money under the table. He's going to come off being the worst owner in the National Basketball Association, even worse than the owner that they currently had, who was racist and said some discouraging words about us as African Americans. And his little scandal with us, his scandal with some female, he's gonna come off even worse than that guy. Okay, so to me, Kawhi, this is not going to look good for Steve Ballmer if it comes out true. That's why I low key believe that Steve Ballmer was telling the truth. When he particularly went to ESPN to let the world know that, hey, we didn't do this. I wouldn't even allow this to happen. Okay, and I don't see how, if it's true, Steve Ballmer can paint himself out of this, because he pretty much put himself in a box he can't get himself out of, because he can't sit up there and say I had no knowledge of it when you should have knowledge. You are the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. What do you mean you didn't know anything about it? So I kind of believe Steve Ballmer when he says that they have not cheated in the salary cap, with the salary cap, by giving Kawhi Leonard additional money. So I kind of believe Steve Ballmer. I do believe Steve Ballmer. I'm about like 85% sure Steve Ballmer did not do this. Okay. Now, if this was all coming from the retrospect of Kawhi Leonard's in with, particularly with his cousin or uncle, and this came out, okay, there might be something there, but I just don't see Steve Ballmer muddying himself in something like that. So, to me, I do believe in Steve Ballmer. I do believe that he's telling the truth, and I do believe that Steve Ballmer is totally innocent. I think the Clippers are innocent. So that's my perspective of it. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they did it so good. They got off scot free, and they figured out a way to do it. They just didn't have evidence to prove that they did it. I don't think it's going to go down that way. After the NBA investigate, I think they're going to come find out, like, look, there was no underhand deals or anything like that. And to me, and if for some strange reason, if it comes out that they did indeed do this, then a lot of stuff is going to happen with the Los Angeles Clippers. I think they're going to force Steve Ballmer into selling the Clippers. The Clippers are going to go right back onto the market again. And if the Los Angeles Lakers can get $10 billion for their franchise, imagine what somebody's willing to pay for the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, on retrospect, if there's a new owner for the Los Angeles Clippers, they're not going to tie all their fortunes around Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's getting older. He's not the same Kawhi Leonard like he was when he won his title with the Toronto Raptors. So, to me, yeah, I think hopefully all this comes out to be false, but you never know. All right. So, yeah, that's all I got for today. Like I said, it's really, as far as news go, there's really nothing much going on. So, guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video or the live stream if something goes down. I'm up out of here, deuces.